Hello guys, welcome back. My name is Nathan, and today we're going to be talking about some prospects that are absolutely dominating so far in 2021. Now there's been a few prospects that have been doing well so far at the turn of the season, but there have been some specific prospects that are absolutely lighting it up so far these past couple of months. But right now, as it stands, who are the hottest prospects in the NHL, and what should we make of their careers going forward? Watch till the end for all the prospect and draft content, and hit that subscribe button if you're new. 70% of the people that are watching these videos are not subscribed, so join the Grav Gang for more draft and hockey content just like this. Now, if you haven't noticed already at the title and the thumbnail, we're going to be talking about 4 specific prospects in today's video. Caufield of the Montreal Canadiens, Dylan Holloway of the Edmonton Oilers, Trevor Zegras of the Anaheim Ducks, and Nils Lundkvist of the New York Rangers. And we're going to start out today with Caufield and get to the rest in a little bit, and I'll give timestamps to when I'm talking about these guys as well in the video. But to start out with Caufield, even if you're not a Montreal fan, you really do need to pay attention to how good he's been so far this season in the NCAA. Now, the 15th overall pick back in 2019, of course, we've talked about him a ton on this channel as well when it comes to the top prospects in the NHL and the top prospects for the Montreal Canadiens. Last year, he was awesome, just above a point per game in the NCAA, and had a great overall successful season. And to start out in the NCAA, he was a little bit shaky. He wasn't as consistent, I thought, as last year in those first couple of weeks of the season, but really, it seems like since the World Juniors, he has been absolutely amazing. In 20 NCAA games so far, Wisconsin has 17 goals, 16 assists for 33 points. And with the World Junior team, of course, for Team USA, won the gold medal, got 2 goals, 3 assists, 5 points in 7 games played. But the difference between Caufield before the World Juniors and after is absolutely nuts to think about. Now, when it comes to the point per games and the point numbers before and after the World Juniors, before the World Juniors, in 10 games played, he got 6 goals, 6 assists for 12 points for 1.1 point per game, which is still pretty solid. But after the World Juniors with Team USA, after he won gold, he so far has once again played 10 games, has gotten 11 goals, 10 assists for 21 points. Right now sitting at a 2.1 point per game after this year's World Juniors, and has been absolutely insane. And you could probably guess it's been since that January 5th, he's been just insane as well with Wisconsin and other prospects as well that we'll get into. Both of these guys have been absolutely crazy, and with Caufield specifically, it seems like he's ramped up to another gear. Maybe it's because he won the gold medal, maybe it's all that excitement just still going into his hockey play, but he has looked a lot better than he was in the World Juniors, to be honest. A lot more consistent, a lot more fluid, and is making the most of those NCAA defenses as well. I'm not sure if he's going to be instantly a top scorer in the NHL, but he definitely has potential to be, and he has had that potential all along. But this year in the NCAA, it seems like there's just something different about Caufield than what we've seen before. I think it's been better overall play, better offensive play, and I think it's lended himself to more opportunities, and he's Caufield. He's going to score on those opportunities, and so far he's been fantastic. But it's not just the goal scoring. In 10 games played, he has 10 assists, 11 goals. He almost has as many assists as he has goals, and has continued that even play throughout the season. But again, 33 points in 20 games. Right now, leading the NCAA in scoring in its entirety, and right now deserves to be the Hobie Baker Award. Personally, that's who I would go to if I was going to give it away, but he's been fantastic and could make an impact from the Montreal Canadiens after his NCAA season is over. Now, Wisconsin is not done yet with this video because they do have Caufield, but they do have another prospect that, just like Caufield after the World Juniors, has been straight sensational. Now, we're going to go from the Montreal Canadiens to the Edmonton Oilers, first round pick to first round pick, and now from Caufield to Dylan Holloway. And even though Caufield has been great since the World Juniors, Dylan Holloway has even been better in terms of scoring and in terms of production, which is really hard to think about. But with Dylan Holloway so far in this year's NCAA season, in 12 games played, has 7 goals, 16 assists for 23 points, and his point per game right now leads the entire NCAA. Is better than Caufield with the amount of games played he has played. Better, or not as bad, not as good as David Ferentz, but he's only played 6 games for Boston University, so there's a little bit of a disconnect there. But with Dylan Holloway, he has been absolutely sensational. In the World Juniors for Team Canada, played 6 games, got 1 goal, 1 assist for 2 points, and looks solid, but he has looked like, just like Caufield, has looked different since the World Juniors ended. He has been absolutely awesome for Wisconsin. And since then, in these last 8 games, he has 19 points, is above 2 points per game these last 9 games, and has been awesome. Right now, he's riding a a 7 straight multiple point game streak and has looked the part. He has been that good. Now, he ended up being the 14th overall pick by the Edmonton Oilers back in this past 2020 NHL draft. And with Dylan Holloway, he was around that rank for me quite a bit. He was as high as like the early 10s. I think by the end was in the later 10s as well, but never really was in the besides the top 20. He was always around that spot for me. And even though at number 14 I wasn't the hugest fan of the pick, I still could see the potential there, and I still thought for Dylan Holloway, the Edmonton Oilers were a pretty good fit in terms of size and in terms of speed that he can use. And it seems like this year, just in general, Dylan Holloway has had an extra gear to his game. I think the speed has been a lot more consistent. I think the overall play has been a lot more consistent, but he's been a lot more opportunistic. He's been a lot more luckier, to be frank, but he just looks like a more complete, better overall offensive player. And I think that's really huge. I think there was kind of a confidence disconnect last year, a little bit of consistency, and he wasn't getting the most ice time as well. And I think it's basically all gone right for him this year, and his play has been so much better as well. He's obviously worked to get to a better level, and so far it's paying off, and he has been absolutely amazing. Sadly, of course, hasn't played the full season because he had that injury, and then he went to the World Junior Camp for Team Canada, so missed quite a few NCAA games, but still, the games he has played, he's been fantastic, just alongside Cole Caufield. Those two guys are just crazily dominating the NCAA, and right now look like the two best forwards right now in the NCAA, to be honest. They have been fantastic, and especially for Dylan Holloway these past few games, he has been the man for Wisconsin. And honestly, if Dylan Holloway keeps up this scoring and keeps up this amazing play, the 14th overall pick looks a lot better, that's for sure. But we're now going to move on to another prospect that has been electric so far in 2021, and I've talked about him a bunch on this channel as one of my favorite prospects in the entire league, but a guy that was so good in this year's World Juniors, was, I guess, kind of pegged to be with the Anaheim Ducks to start the season. That was not the case, and was with the San Diego Gulls to start the AHL season. So far, is leading the AHL in scoring, as he rightfully deserves to be, because he has been amazing. That being from the Anaheim Ducks, Trevor Zegras. And the 9th overall pick back in 2019 has just had a great 2021. Gold medal, was fantastic in the World Juniors, tied USA's all-time scoring lead for points in just World Junior history. He was fantastic, and in this past World Juniors, in 7 games, got 7 goals, 11 points for 11 assists for 18 points. And in the AHL so far, it seems like he is continuing that progression. It wasn't a fluke, and it never really was, to be honest. He always has been this good in terms of potential and projection, but Trevor Zegras is making it known just how good he is, not just to the hockey world, but specifically the Anaheim Ducks. In 2 AHL games, I was able to catch one of them, that second game, or that first game actually, with the San Diego Gulls, but in 2 games in the AHL right now, has 2 goals, 3 assists for 5 points, and right now is standing alone as the leader in AHL scoring. I think there's a few guys at 4 points, but he is the only guy right now at 5 points scored so far, and has, again, as I said before, looked the part. He has been awesome so far for the San Diego Gulls. I was able to see that first game. He got a goal, 2 assists for 3 points. Looked amazing overall in terms of the offensive role they were giving him. I think it looked fantastic, and you saw, I think, the shootout goal in the preseason or something. He didn't even look like he was trying, because it seems like he doesn't even need to. He is above almost every player in that league, and I think deserves to be in the NHL. I mean, I think it is good that he is in the AHL getting some seasoning there, but if he continues this scoring, if he continues this 2.5 point per game pace, I think the Anaheim Ducks can have no really argument to not have him in the NHL. He should absolutely be an NHL player. He has the talent to be, and I think should be on the roster in no time. Maybe you give him a couple more weeks to season down to the AHL, but it's gonna be a short time until he is in the NHL doing his thing for the Anaheim Ducks and being hopefully one of those franchise leaders in terms of offense and in terms of hopefully that great rebuild going forward. And yeah, for the Anaheim Ducks, especially when it comes to talent and potential, Trevor Zegras could be the best player on Anaheim really quickly. Not gonna lie. But I do think it is good overall. The Anaheim Ducks are taking their time with him. He doesn't turn 20 years old until March, and he does have quite a bit of time. So maybe give him another month in the AHL. Then when he does turn 20, send him up to the NHL as a birthday present and see how he does. I think that'd be pretty much perfect. But Trevor Zegras is definitely legit. He's been legit for a very long time, and as a Boston University boy, he's getting it done as he should. Fantastic player, and I think will be a fantastic player in no time for the Anaheim Ducks as well. Now we're going to go on to the 4th prospect to talk about here today, though, with the New York Rangers and the Swedish defenseman Nils Lundkvist. Now, Nils Lundkvist has had just a great couple of seasons in the SHL. Last year, points-wise, was fantastic, and offensively was in such a great role here. But going into his second year in the SHL, I was looking for improvement, and so far, I think there has been some pretty major improvement in his overall game, in his overall attack. I mean, there's been a lot more consistency there, but he has been still electric this year. In the SHL, in 40 games played, has 10 goals, 14 assists for 24 points. He isn't even 21 years old yet, and right now is leading the SHL in goal scoring at 10, and is making SHL history. With Nils Lundkvist, he's the first defenseman in SHL history to record multiple 10-plus goal seasons before the age of 21. He's 20 years old right now, has still had another fantastic season goal scoring wise, and I don't really think it's a fluke. I mean, for defensemen, I don't usually look at goal scoring as a main thing. Like, that's not a thing that I look towards with D-man, but he's a guy that gets in the exact right opportunities. He is used in such a fantastic role in the SHL too offensively, where I think it gives himself an edge other D-men that are more on the goal scoring side. I think Lundkvist has a lot of potential goal scoring wise in the NHL. He's not just a guy that has a great shot from the point. He can shoot it pretty much everywhere, and you've seen that so far in the SHL. But in terms of overall play, I think in terms of defensive play, I think there has been some big improvement there. He's absolutely legit though as an offensive D-man, and although defense I think can still be a little bit of a question long-term in the NHL, he's still a player that I think has a lot of potential for the New York Rangers, and as a top 4 D-man, I could totally see him filling that role and potentially being a power play quarterback for years to come. But now I wanted to talk about two specific Red Wings prospects that also in 2021 have been absolutely electric themselves. Both are playing in the SHL. One is a forward, one is a D-man, and you can probably get to where I'm pointing at here. We're going to start out, though, with the forward in Jonathan Berggren. Now, Jonathan Berggren has been unreal so far in the SHL this season. He's 20 years old, right wing / left winger, but was drafted in the second round back by Detroit in the 2018 draft. He hasn't really had the most slick progression. I would say he had a really big injured year back in 2019, wasn't able to play too much, but personally, back from the 2018 draft, I had him as a first-round pick. I thought he was a guy that, especially in the 20s, was a really solid, viable option as a high-skilled, high-octane forward that I thought has potential as a potential top 6 forward in the NHL, and it just seemed like the injury woes was kind of catching up to him. But since that 2019 season, he's gotten a lot better. He had a solid 2020 year, but in 2021, he has absolutely exploded. In the SHL this year, as a 20-year-old winger, by the way, just want to stress that enough, in 38 games has 10 goals, 28 assists for 38 points. He is 20 years old and is a point per game in the SHL. Just shows how unreal he has been. Now, when it comes to his actual scoring marks, he is 4th right now in SHL scoring, again, as a 20-year-old, and is doing quite well in that department. He's 14 points above the next U21 player in the score sheet, of course, behind Nils Lundkvist and Moritz Seider, but he has been on a league of his own when it comes to the youth and the age and what he's been doing in the Swedish Hockey League. We're now going to go on to, once again, another Red Wings prospect here, and the aforementioned Moritz Seider of the Detroit Red Wings. And as the 6th overall pick, obviously the hype was on him and the potential was there. I've been a big Moritz Seider fan for a long time, though. As a German hockey fan, I love seeing guys from Germany come up and be so solid, and Moritz Seider is one of the best prospects we've seen in a very long time, with Tim Stützle and Leon Draisaitl as well. But when it comes to Moritz Seider, he has been extraordinary in the SHL this season. Started off well, but especially in the first couple months this season in 2021, he has been phenomenal on the offensive side of things. This past week was injured, I think, but will go back this week as well. And he will be with the Detroit Red Wings after the SHL season ends, which is in early March. So the Red Wings will probably get a couple months out of him in the regular season, so not too bad there. But in terms of how he's been playing in the SHL this year, he is still 19 years old, but in 31 games played, has 5 goals, 19 assists for 24 points. And even though it's not Jonathan Berggren numbers, he's 19-year-old defenseman playing his first year in the SHL and being as good as he has been. Now, I think the biggest thing for me was the overall game, and you can obviously see the points, and you can see the scoring, and just see him as an offensive defenseman, but that hasn't really been the case in the SHL this year. I think for the most part, he has been one of the better defensive players in the SHL, just in terms of consistency and in terms of work ethic and overall production. He in the defensive zone has been really solid, and I think he's playing his best hockey in his own zone right now in the SHL. On top of that, the points that he's getting as a 19-year-old defenseman, by the way. I mean, if we're looking at the points here, 24 points in 31 games, if you were a winger, if you were a forward at 19 years old putting up those numbers, that would be absolutely exceptional. But he is a defenseman putting up those numbers, and he's not even just purely offense. He has more to his game than that as well. And it just shows how good Moritz Seider is, how much potential he has, and how mature he is already at such a young age. But that'll be pretty much it for today. There's obviously some other prospects I could talk about. Vasily Podkolzin has done really well these past couple of weeks, but in terms of the main prospects, these are really the big ones that are just absolutely dominating so far in 2021. But that'll be it for today. Hopefully you guys did end up enjoying, and hopefully your day is going fantastic. If you enjoyed though, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell if you haven't already for more prospect content just like this one. Comment down below, what do you think of these prospects' performances so far, and what do you think of them going in the future? Guys like Caufield, Holloway, Zegras, Lundkvist, Seider, Berggren, let me know all your thoughts. Make sure you share this video with your friends, get the prospect performances out there, boys, and click on this card for all of my hockey prospect talk right in one playlist. My name is Nathan. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video or stream. Goodbye.